Now we have writing equations. So they're going to give us multiple scenarios and they want you to write an equation to represent this. So our first one we have write a line through 2, -1, 1, -7, which means that we need to find our slope and our intercept. So on this one we have x1, y1, x2, y2. And we're going to find our slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which means we have -7 minus -1 over 1 minus 2. So this is the same one that we did earlier. -7 minus -1 becomes a plus, which means it's -6. 1 minus 2 is -1. So our slope is a +6. Now to find our intercept, we're going to use one of these points to write it in point slope form. So I'm going to pick this one right here. Remember, point slope form was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we just plug in this point and this slope. So I get y minus -1. Our slope was a 6 times x minus our x1 is a 2. And then minus a negative becomes a plus, so it's y plus 1 equals 6 times x minus 2. Now if it doesn't specify which type of equation it wants, this would be a perfectly fine answer. But if it said it wanted it in slope-intercept form, we would have to then get y by itself. So I would distribute and get y plus 1 equals 6x minus 12. And then I have to get rid of this 1, so I subtract 1 from both sides. So our final answer, if it wanted it in slope-intercept form, would be y equals 6x minus 13. For 40, it says a horizontal line. So we learned that horizontal line is a zero slope. And it was also y equals some number. Well, if we look at our coordinate points, the x doesn't matter to us, but our y is just going to equal this number that it gives us for y. So it's going to be y equals 6. So horizontal has to be y equals, and you just look at the y value they give you. So vertical line is basically the same thing, except we know that vertical lines are undefined slope. And that was x equals some number. So instead of looking at our y here, all we care about is the x value they give us, which means our equation here would be x equals 1. For 42, it gives us a line and it wants the equation. So here the easiest form is slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. So I need to figure out what m equals and what b equals. So my slope would just be rise over run. So if I pick 2 points, I can pick that one and that one. I would go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4. Then I go to the right 2, so my run is 2, which means my slope in this case would just be 2. Now my b is my y-intercept, so I look at where it hits the y-axis, which would be at 4, so b equals 4. Which means my final equation here is y equals 2x plus 4. Okay, 43 and 44 are the same thing, just given to us in a different way. So 43 gives us our slope, and it gives us a point. So we should use point slope form again. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I have y minus, my y1 is negative 1. My slope here is 3/4. Then I have x minus my x1 is a positive 4. Minus a negative becomes y plus 1. And again, if it didn't tell you which way to write this, this would be our equation in point-slope form. If it wanted it in slope-intercept form, we do have to distribute. So I have y plus 1 equals 3/4 x, then 3/4 times negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Divided by 4 is negative 3. And to get rid of this positive 1, we subtract 1, which means y equals 3/4 x minus 4 is our equation in slope-intercept form. For 44, this one I'm going to do in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. So I need to find the slope, and I need to find b. So remember, slope of a table is change in y over change in x. So from 3 to 8, our change is plus 8. 3 to 11. 11 to 19, our change is plus 8. 19 to 27, it's plus 8. And 27 to 35, it's plus 8. So our change in y here is 8. And our change in x from 0 to 2 is plus 2. 2 to 4 is plus 2. 4 to 6 is plus 2. And 6 to 8 is plus 2. So our change in x is a positive 2, which means 8 divided by 2, our slope has to be 4. Now we're looking for our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is when we have our x is 0 and y is some number. So if we look right here, we have where x equals 0, and at that point y equals 3. So 0, 3 is our y-intercept, but that just means b equals 3. The equation here is y equals, we take our slope, which is 4, so 4x plus 3. "45 is a word problem it wants us to write an equation based on. So it says train passengers pay $283 to ride to New Orleans. This price includes one piece of luggage for free. Each additional piece costs $17. Which equation can be used to find the cost in dollars a passenger will pay within pieces of luggage?" So let's just look at each of our answer choices to see. So with A, it's saying we start with $283 and we pay $17 per bag. So that is true, but it's missing this piece right here. So we get one piece of luggage for free. So this one cannot be our answer because that is saying we pay for every piece of luggage. For B, we start with $283, but then we're subtracting the cost for each bag. So train passengers definitely don't get paid to bring more luggage, so that cannot be our answer either. C is saying for every piece of luggage that you decide to bring, you pay for that piece of luggage plus one more. So that's not saying we get any for free, that's saying we're paying for an extra one every time. So C also cannot be our answer. But D has 17 times the luggage you bring minus 1. So we are paying for all the luggage that we bring minus 1, which would be our one piece for free, and then plus the cost of our ticket. So D is the answer.